Welcome to Fempreneur True Confessions podcast, where we still don't have a theme song, but we're still working on it.
As many
A theme
times as
song.
songs pop into our head on a daily basis, we're just randomly singing stuff. I don't understand why we don't have one, but
Me
okay,
neither.
maybe we'll get a random song.
And
Hi,
we're still open
everyone.
to
Welcome.
suggestions.
Yes, absolutely. Wow, it's May. Hi, everyone. So
Right?
excited to have you all here. And yes, it's freaking
Woo!
May. So, um, I know for those of you that watch us and know that we do a lot of the woo-woo stuff, Beltane had just passed, and so there's a lot of spring fever in the air. I know I'm in clouds right now, so yeah,
What
that's
does that mean?
it means it's for me. Spring fever is hard. Like I'm a spring baby, so the second spring comes around, my head goes straight into the clouds. I'm like, woo! I am all over the place, and it's so hard to get focused.
Yeah.
A couple of
I
weeks of just like, whew, kind of feeling.
that's how summer is for me. I love summer because I was
Mhm.
born in the middle of June.
Yeah. Oh, see,
I
that
never
makes
made that connection, but that makes total sense. I freaking love summer.
yeah.
Yeah. All the
Mm.
things.
Well, hi.
So
Um,
yeah,
I'm
do the
still
thing.
up there, and she's still Lady Powerhouse, and we are still doing our thing. We still have our wonderful agencies and amazing teams that help out small businesses and wonderful women, and just I think we're finding we just really love the businesses we're working with and the collaboration together and just, yeah, more and more and more. It just feels so aligned and invaluable. So,
Yeah, I really loved one of the questions that our business coach, Laura and I have the same business coach, Kim Romaine, gonna shout out Kim.
thank
Um,
you.
and kimromaine.com.
Mhm.
She asked a question today about our businesses and uh what was it? It was like, do you think they're ready or who is ready for what you're doing?
Mhm.
And a couple people came to mind. And actually several people that we're working with, I'm like, I really think that they're really open and receptive to working with either us because we're both working with them or me, the clients that I'm working with alone. Because Laura and I share clients, not share, what's the word? Collaborate together. And
Yeah.
and we have our individual clients that we work with solely. And yeah, and I feel like they are ready. They are like, especially one of the newer clients I just got that has been so receptive and just very openly grateful for the support. And
Mhm.
that isn't always the case. Sometimes they know they need help, but they still resist. There's still that
Mhm.
resistance. So they're really not ready.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Does that
And
make
the
sense?
fantasy, it just is. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
There is a resistance, and it comes from several different places. We all have those different things in our business. We resist certain things, even us.
Yep. Even
As
us.
many times. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
as business owners, it just really is what happens. There can be a resistance to things until we get to a point where we're okay with it or not. That's how we know. Is it aligned? Is it not? So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Mhm.
And that's what the podcast is about too. The podcast is
Mhm.
about having that alignment. I feel like when we first started, it was because we saw this um, lack of modeling that for like real with female entrepreneurs that are really out there doing the things, that it isn't all Instagram produced, coiffed,
Right.
perfect, blonde, blue eyed, and
Looks
right,
like us.
right, and so and we're you're just your average middle aged um women out there trying to follow their calling and follow their passion, right? And I think so many women are out there doing that, but what we were seeing at the time was not, we weren't seeing anybody we could really relate to.
Right,
Um,
exactly.
and so we were like, let's fix it. Let's create it, right?
Mhm.
Create the change in the world, right? That you want to see.
Yeah.
So that's what the podcast is about, is collaboration over competition. Um, that abundance mindset over scarcity mindset, and
Yeah,
just aligning with our true passion and calling. And what does that look like? Because it looks differently for everybody.
it
And
does.
sharing those stories and giving all these women a voice. So we're gonna give.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for so many reasons, but today's
Mhm.
guest, she's from the Lou, which is where I have spent decades of my adult life working and living in St. Louis, Missouri, and this is her first podcast.
Yes. And so she went live. She decided to go live on her very first podcast. So
Woohoo!
yes, we're
I love
excited
it.
and
Love it.
and
Love it.
just
Love it.
really happy that she chose us. That can be
Yeah.
scary. So but here today we have Nikia Burch, and she's always had a passion for helping others succeed. For over 15 years, she has worked in business support roles in various industries such as real estate, healthcare, customer service, and insurance. Within these roles, Nikia has collaborated with individuals at various organizations, from small business owners to C suite executives. Nikia has Gammered extensive knowledge and expertise in areas to include corporate finance, human resources, management, business operations, and payroll. Having always personified an enterprising spirit, Nakia launched Innovative VA LLC in 2021. Under her leadership, Innovative VAs offers business management support other entrepreneurs and to other entrepreneurs and small business owners. Since its inception, they have assisted several business owners with various general VA tasks, including research, scheduling, AR, and AP, literally anything else clients needed, while working under the Innovative brand. So Nakia has realized her passion was much more related to helping other business owners with setting up their back office systems and thriving more financially. So then she decided to start Confident Bookkeeping Solutions in 2024 to focus solely on bookkeeping. She also holds a bachelor's in business administration from Harris Stowe State University. She is a native of Upper Marlboro, Maryland, and currently resides in St. Louis, Missouri. And she's even changed some more. So we're going to get into that as well. So we're
Yeah.
excited. That's the life of an
Yes. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We're
Well,
so excited.
let's yeah, dive right in. So the title for today's episode is Change Course Until You Find What Lights You Up. And that title was inspired by Nikia. And because she figured this out. So we're gonna step back. We're gonna let her tell her little story of how she figured that one out. Because I think a lot of people think that change is what's not wishy-washy, but like that it means that you
You know,
haven't figured it out
unstable.
yet,
Mhm.
that you don't know your stuff. Well, and
Yeah.
we know this change is good. That's what makes us grow, right? Um, and so I want to normalize and that the love is coming in already. I love it. I love it. Oh, so she's already talking about dashboards. We'll get into that. We will get into that. But so share with us all the change. Talk about all the change.
Yeah. So when I first started the business in 2021, it was solely out of just pure misery and hatred for where I was in life at that time. I just was so unhappy at my corporate job, and I just knew like I couldn't keep going on like that for too much longer. I was um a pain to be around at that time because I was just so unhappy.
Yeah.
So
It overflows, right?
it does, and that just wasn't fair to the people around me. So it was actually in December of 2020 where I was just sitting at my desk and I was just having a moment with God, and I said, like, I can't do this anymore. I need something. What can I do with the skills that I have right now that will not require me to go back to school? Because I'm not trying to get any more student loan debt. Like, what can I do right now and get this thing going? And like, I felt VA. That's what came to my mind. And so I was like, okay, I can do that. So January 2021, I locked in, I started my LLC, and by April, it took a few months, but April, I got my first 5 clients in 1 week. And then it was amazing. It was amazing. I felt so accomplished and validated. And then by that September, I was able to say goodbye to corporate America. And so that's what I did. But
Nice.
in working with those clients, it just wasn't, it didn't pull at my heartstrings. I just knew it was what I wanted to do to help me, to be that catalyst to get me out of corporate America.
Baby steps,
Um,
right?
yes, yes. And so I, over time, one of the main things that people kept needing my help or wanting my help with was their finances. And that is what my corporate background I was always in a financial support role. So um, even before I locked in on doing the finances, I pivoted to doing the back office stuff and finances. I launched Essential Admin Solutions in 2023. And that was me like helping people with their project management systems and all the back office things. And then I had a coach January 2024 who was like, well, why are you doing all of that? Like, you love the bookkeeping, so why don't you just focus in on the bookkeeping? And I was like, you're right. Why am I doing all of this? So then 2024 is how Confident Bookkeeping Solutions started. So I have pivoted a few times and even pivoted again at the end of 20, not pivoted, but just I feel like I've elevated the service a bit. And so yeah,
Well,
change.
you've kind of niched it down a little bit
Yeah, and I
or up.
used to feel bad for changing and then changing so often because I felt like people would view me as unstable or, like you said earlier, wishy-washy. But you don't know what you don't know.
Mhm.
And so when I first started out, I didn't know what was going to really be that thing that was going to um, light me up. And so it took these different iterations for me to find it. And so I'm very happy with where I landed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
talk about what brought you to doing what you're doing now with the dashboards and the fractional CFO stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry.
I said I love that you're doing the dashboards. I went through a program, a certification for it, and I love them. I mean, I absolutely love it. It's not something that we do or
Mhm.
offer that I look into further, but I love the fact that you're doing that because it's just such a neat area. But anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
I think I've gone through the same certification that you did because I think I saw you on a call or on a recording. So yeah.
How
See,
cool is that?
that's
Yes, yes.
neat. I love it.
Such a
Wonderful.
small world. It's such a small world. But yeah, I went through that same
What
program.
was the program? I like we're totally open to sharing that.
Oh yeah,
Yes. So
go ahead.
it's by a woman, Lane Booth, and it's
Yeah,
called
yeah.
Dashboard Designers.
Yep.
So
Mhm.
yeah,
I've met Lane.
Yes, yes. So yeah, she's amazing. The program was awesome. And the way I stumbled upon that was just wanting to find that onlyness for me. Like I know I'm not the only bookkeeper who offers dashboards, but they're very few and far between. And I wanted to have something that's helped me to stand out
Mhm.
amongst the crowd. I mean, you meet bookkeepers like at every networking event. There's always a few of us, and so I was just wanting something that would help me, to help differentiate me, to help people remember me, and what I'm doing. So that's how I landed upon the dashboards. And I also wanted to be more of a strategic partner as opposed to just the doer, just the
Mhm.
person that categorizes the transactions. So
Yeah. And it's kind of a natural evolution. I have found
Mhm.
that, yeah, I started out just doing the things. And then it's like, okay, now I need people to help me do the things. Okay,
Mhm.
now I'm just telling people, "Oh, you wanna do this? Well, have you thought about doing this?" And,
Mhm.
um, I don't consider myself a coach, but I do consider myself a business consultant, because often clients will come to me with a new project and be like, "Hey, this came to me. This is what I've got so far. What do you think?" And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, and what do you think
Mhm.
about doing this to
yeah.
increase the value or add value or position yourself as more of authority?" And they're just like, "Oh, wow, I didn't think about that." And I realize,
Mhm.
hey, I'm actually providing that's my value. That's the added value I
Mhm.
have. It's not just that I can do the do's, right? I
Mhm,
can do the
mhm.
do's, but I can also add that strategy.
Yeah.
Just because I've been
Mhm.
doing this operationally for decades.
Yeah.
And when you experience
Yeah.
that much, you it's just there to pick, and I can go, "Oh, well, you
Yeah.
know."
Yep.
But for
I love
those
super.
what?
Yeah. I love that superpower, that strategy side where we start somewhere because that's where we start. Coming out of corporate, the best match for where I was seemed like VA work. And then I quickly was like, oh God, no, I'm a theme developer. I don't need to do VA work. This is not, I need others who can do, but this is not the part for me.
Mhm.
Right. So it was finding my where my superpower really lies, and mine's in strategy, mine's in a different view. I see things differently, and that I love my ADHD for that. So but it definitely is, in seeing that vision, it's the uh, our clients come in with the idea of, yes, I can build a team, I know how to do this thing, I see it a little bit differently, but it's you're the value, it's your strategy, it's what you're building, that's what makes you unique. So for you, that part made you so unique and makes you stand out because that's a strategy, it's a part of now who your whole business is, all wrapped into
Mhm.
one,
Yeah.
And for
Yeah.
those who don't really have maybe never heard of dashboards or don't know exactly what it is, give us a brief little explanation so that people understand as we continue to mention and talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So dashboards are they bring together what I feel are the three pillars of every single business: your finances, your marketing, and your operations. And so, with these dashboards, I typically will talk to clients about what are the top KPIs for you that's going to move the needle in your business, that aligns with your next 90 day, 6 month, year goals. And we take only those top KPIs because, one of the things business owners, it's like they want to track every single metric in the business. And that is not what the dashboard is about. The dashboard is for tracking only the things that are going to move the needle to help move your business forward, to help achieve those short-term goals that you have in the business, so that you're able to see those in one place. You're not pulling from Shopify and Stripe and QuickBooks and whatever other platforms, it's bringing all that information into one centralized location so you can make those strategic decisions faster with real-time data.
Awesome. Yeah. Um, and again, KPIs
Key
for those.
performance indicators.
Yes.
Yes, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I know what it means.
Yeah.
Laura knows what it means. But
Mhm.
just in case we have the newbie listener, which I hope we do. I hope we do have a listeners like, what's that? Wait, what? Because that's what we want to provide here is value.
Yes.
And sharing people's stories. We want that's the whole goal is to
Yeah.
be like, hey, this is the thing that I went through. This is how I this was my journey through it. It's not going to be everyone's, but if there's one other person out there who's like dealing with the same or similar thing that can gain value or insight from your experience, then we win. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Just to, even if we reach one person, and it doesn't have to be today during the live, because guess what? This is on the interwebs forever. No pressure. I just realized as I was saying it, you probably shouldn't be saying that to Nikia. But anyway.
Yes. I'm sorry. You have to bring me back down to bringing it back down to layman's terms. So yes, KPIs, those are key performance indicators, and they are just basically a quantitative metric for how well a specific department or organization is tracking, against their goals and their objectives. So
Yeah. And I think it's important to say too, the organization, the individual, the CEO, they choose those. They're not chosen for you.
absolutely.
But someone in a fractional CFO position could say, this is my recommendation.
Mhm.
How does that resonate with you?
Yeah,
Does that feel
absolutely.
aligned? But ultimately, the business owner is the one that decides what
Mhm.
those KPIs are and
Mhm.
what they want their dashboard to look like. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. Um, One of the other things that you mentioned and I wanted to talk about was you talked about one of the more important or one of the reasons that you do what you do. And that's your kids, right? And
Mhm.
often for women, it is about our families, our children. I know for me, it's my daughters. I want to leave a legacy for my daughters and my grandchildren, either through my business or the impact that I make with the business or by leaving the business for them. Something. We want to leave a legacy, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things that you mentioned, and I loved this, was that you wanted to show them that no matter what life threw at you, that they had a choice on how they moved through it.
Absolutely.
And I love that. That just gave me chills, girl. Because we do have a choice
Mhm.
how we move through what life throws at us. And you've had some things thrown at you, haven't you?
Yeah, it's been tough. Yeah, it's trying to make sure I keep my cool as I talk
You don't
about
have to keep
this.
your cool here. We're all about being real. That's what this show. Real talk.
You can say whatever you need.
Yeah, it's been tough. Like I was married, and I lost my husband in 2008, so well before I had a business. He passed away in 2008 very suddenly and unexpectedly. The kids at that time, they were 7, 4, and 3. And so just, yeah, they were, really inspiring for me to, um, start my business because, like I said, I was so miserable. I was so miserable in corporate America. And I wanted them to see, like, you don't have to stay in situations that are not serving you. I have had a dream of being an entrepreneur since I was a child. Like, I was making bracelets and selling them, taking bags of chips and reselling them at school. Like, I've always known that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And so it took me a little while to get there, but everything in life happens at its
Divine
right
timing.
appointed time, and
Mhm.
so when I was in corporate, I was always like, oh my gosh, like, why am I here? I hate this job. I'm hating my life right now. But I later realized, like, all of those positions in corporate America, got me to, that's what helped me to have the foundation that I
They do
needed for
prepare us.
entrepreneurship. They definitely prepared me for entrepreneurship. And so, yeah, I'm just, my kids are my big why. And they're not kids anymore. Like I said, they were 7, 4, and 3 when my husband passed. They are now 24. My daughter will be 21 next month, and my youngest is 19. So they are adults. And when I started the business, they were in their teenage years.
How is your oldest a boy or girl?
It's boy, girl, boy.
Okay. And so so when you started your business, he was like 17, 18. Was he ever like, "Mom, why are you putting up with this crap? Why don't you just do your own thing?"
He wasn't that, he was not like that. My daughter was more so like, why,
Okay.
why are you working here if you hate it so much? But the boys, I don't know, the boys, they're a bit aloof. I love them to death, but they're not tuned in. They're not as tuned in as my daughter is. She pays attention to the very small details. So yeah.
I think women, it's easier for them to tap into their intuition because it's definitely, I think, part of the divine feminine. And I think men feel like that's not masculine. That intuition, following your gut, listening to your gut, oh, that's just like, oh, that's like,
woo, beyond woo.
that's
Yeah.
girl stuff, right? Um that's too touchy-feely or something. But and that's one of my passion projects is that people, not just women, but all people, tap into that divine feminine, because we were given both masculine and feminine for a
Absolutely.
reason. And my personal belief is God is genderless. I don't believe he's a he or she's a she. They are they. That's why that both feminine and masculine exist, right? Because we both came out of the same God, right? Our creator is still the same creator. So in order for us to come out of our creator, that means we embody both masculine and feminine. But so I was just interested to know if he was, being the oldest and the man of the house, kind of, did he take
Yeah.
that role at all?
The kids are a whole nother struggle. Being that they lost their dad at such a young age, and especially the boys not having that male role model in the house, it's been a struggle. I won't say that he stepped into that man of the house role. There's times where he has been like the big brother to his siblings. But yeah, it's still a work in progress with the kids.
Oh my gosh, like, I'm 55 years old and I'm still a freaking work in progress.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
So, dude,
Say, like, in school, they would be like, well, where do you want to be? And I'm like, who in the hell? I'm now in my third career. Like, and they're not short careers. We're talking like 13, 15 years of my life, these aren't short careers. And so I'm like, when my son was like, I don't want to go to college, I'm like, oh, good. No debt. Like, okay, I'm fine with that, because who knows at 18? I'm like, if you absolutely know, I'm petrified.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
how do you know? Like, yeah, who? So I'm glad these kids now are at least thinking that. Like, hold on, I don't know what I want to do.
Mhm.
I'm clueless.
Yep.
And I have so much respect and compassion for and empathy for single mothers. My youngest daughter has been a single mom. Her son is 14, 15. And she's done it alone the entire time. Now, when the baby first came, we her older sister and I, we were definitely there for her, right? During that time. Um, but she's highly independent. They both are. I raised them to be that way.
Mhm.
Um, to not depend on anyone. And good or bad, because of my own traumas and upbringing and life experiences. Um, so to have done what you've done, I admire you so much.
Thank
I
you.
can't even imagine with 3. Um, I had 2 daughters, and Lord knows why he did not give me no boys, okay? And now I have grandsons. I have 7 grandchildren, and most of them boys, 2 girls, 5 boys. And my first grandchild was a boy, and my and my oldest daughter has 5, and it's boy, girl, boy, girl, boy.
Wow.
And then my youngest has 2. And so not having brought up boys myself. Now, the reason I have children is my nephew's fault. I blame it completely on him because when I was in high school, I lived with my oldest brother and his wife and their little boy, my nephew, who at 2 years old had me so firmly wrapped around his finger. And I just fell in love with him and knew he's the one that I was like, I'm having children. I know that I am having children. So I'm always blaming it on him. But
And then you weren't given a him.
right, right.
That's not what
Uh,
came to you. Right.
yeah. But we have our roles in this life, and my role was to raise 2 very strong, highly independent women,
Mhm.
Yeah.
who I was just so freaking proud of them that they are better mothers than I was.
Mhm.
And like, that's okay. That's okay. That's great, actually. Um, and I'm like you, like I always knew I was supposed to be doing something. And so I've always had a side hustle. I've always had, some iteration of a thing I'm doing on my own. It started as a kid. I would paint rocks and give them away. I would collect Coke bottles back in the day. We collected Coke bottles. You could get actual money
Right.
Yeah.
for them. So I can totally relate to that too, that entrepreneurial spirit. Do you see any of that in your own children?
My daughter my daughter and the youngest son, they both have that spirit in them. They need the stick to itness to go along with it.
Yeah.
So
This
yeah.
this age of instant gratification has not done our kids any favors.
No.
None at all. They just think that everything, and it's crazy because they've seen me. Well, I don't know that I'm a good example because it did happen kind of quickly where I was able to stop working in corporate, but still I tell them that piece was, pretty rapid, but all the years in corporate that led up to that, we have to remember all of those years. Those count. Like those were years where I was constantly figuring out like what can I do? Before I actually went all in on the VA business, I was a Uber driver. I was selling life insurance. Like I was trying,
Yeah.
I did one of those MLM health brands. Like I was doing a lot of different things trying to figure this out. So
You know, I direct sales teaches you so much.
Mm.
They teach you so much, not just about sales, but how to run your own business.
mhm,
And that is good training.
yeah,
That is good experience because a lot of it is about failure and seeing what works and what doesn't. And
yeah,
that failure does it's not a personal like front on you. It is feedback. Oh, that didn't work next. That
yeah,
didn't work next.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm still getting comfortable with that idea. Like, no one tells you in your business, like you pointing that out, like it's like, oh, light bulb. Like, yeah, that's direct sales and that failure is they correlate together, but I'm still learning every day that when you start a business, you are a salesperson. Like as
You're
much
all
as
the
you don't,
things often.
yeah,
Yes.
as much as you may not want to be. And like when I started the business, I was like, oh, people will just. I think I had the build the field of dreams complex. Like if you build it, they will come. And it's like, no,
Mm.
they don't just come. Like you have to build a network and really and talk to people. And so having a business really stretches you as a person.
Yeah.
Because yeah, it's been a journey for sure being a business
That
owner.
is one thing that's been a common theme that almost every guest has brought up is that you start a business, all kinds of personal things come up to the surface, don't
Mhm.
they? Because you have to suddenly be this leader and the doer and the strategist and oh wait, I'm still a mom, I'm still a provider, I'm still all the
Mhm.
things.
All the
Yeah.
things.
And if we don't have our our ish worked out, if we don't have
Mhm.
our priorities straight, if we have any kind of drama llamas in our life, negative Nellies, that chaff that it will
Mhm.
come to the surface. It will be shown to you, and you will have to deal with it whether you like it or not. So, you got back issues, okay? I'm not talking about the magazines. I'm talking about the issues. If you've got start a business, you'll deal with it.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Right. They all
Absolutely.
come to the front and center. And then then it's the change because we think about, you say, well, we're all salespeople and stuff. When in corporate, I never did sales. Like I was on the retention side. So sales did their thing, and then it was our job to make sure that everything went smooth past that.
Mhm.
I was like, what the F sales? Well, now it's different because now it's then is it icky or is it genuine collaboration now? Because now it's two different levels. We're figuring out who we want to work with, and is it still kind of an icky gross feel? And you're not that may not be your thing, or it's okay and this isn't a gross thing and we're getting to know each other, we're making the connections. Is now how do you approach it and what do you do with it? Because I certain sales I just I don't resonate with. I'm happy for them that do that and that works for them, but it's not a tactic for me or that works with me. Like, yeah, come at me in a certain way, and I it doesn't resonate. So it makes it easy to be like, oh, I don't think this is a good match quickly. Like, you can discern that. So,
Mhm.
Yeah.
but
And
that's
that comes
we're trying to
yeah.
make that difference, that change in what sales also looks like and what business looks like from what the horrible corporate experience there where we've all like now exchanged. It's like, okay, now what do we want to build that looks so different for everybody that will be working with us in going forward? What does that look like now to be different? So
Yeah.
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 And we've got a couple people tuned in from YouTube watching live. Thank you for tuning in live. Drop a comment, say hello. We love to out there. And of course, we're always open to questions, especially if you have a question for the guest. I love that.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah. And one of the things that you were talking about, Laura, this discernment, that takes practice. It doesn't just, I mean, maybe for some people it poof, it's there. But for the
Mhm.
majority of us, um, it's a practice. It's something that we try and we're like, oh, that hit or that didn't. I wonder why. I'm being curious,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And so as we're wrapping up here and getting close to our time, one of the questions I like to ask guests, and I don't always, but I feel like today's a good day,
Mhm.
is looking back, because hindsight's 2020. Is there one piece of advice or something that you would tell yourself when you first started out, or to someone out there who's about to press play, and they're scared. They're scared and they're like, but I know I got to do this. What's the one thing you would say?
Um, oh my gosh, there's so much that I would say. Um, One thing that I would say as far as getting into entrepreneurship, you really should start the networking early on from day one, and start networking early from day one and trusting your gut. Like, that's one thing that I didn't do in the beginning. Like, I've just recently started doing this more, the networking piece. I was so introverted, and so I was just like I said, I thought that if I just built a business, that the clients would just know that I was here and they would just start rolling in and come to me, and that's not how it works. You have to
Mhm.
build a network even before you start the business. Start talking to people about what it is that you're going to be getting into, and you'll gain a lot of precious and valuable feedback from those conversations, and you'll be remembered. When people look back and they're like, oh, I remember so and so said that they were interested in this. I'll reach out to them when that need comes up for them. So yeah, I would say network early and trust your instincts.
That's awesome. And case in
Yeah.
point, that's how you came to hear about our podcast, was through networking. Catherine
Absolutely.
McMahon, which is someone that Laura knows,
Yep.
right,
Mhm.
Laura? I've got
Yeah.
that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah,
M3. Mhm.
mhm.
Well, and now,
So,
and then the dashboard designers, we figured that out too. So that's so funny. I tell people like Angelique, I stalked Angelique, and I'm like, and they're like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, well, we were running in the same circles anyway. And then I started like going to places that she was liking different things, and we were connected in different ways, not just business, but on belief systems and divine timing and things like that. So but that's kind of how it works, is that when we start to be connected to certain people within business, you start to see where your people really are. And that's
Mhm.
part of, like we all have our corner, our section, our tribe, our group. And I think we're all making those connections to that. So I love it.
and
Because
that's a really good point, Laura. Like, where should you network? Network where your people are,
Yep.
your target market, whoever it is that you want to serve. That's where you want to network. Do they hang out in, I don't know, what's a good example? Where are your
Certain
people at?
Facebook groups, you can look at certain Facebook groups that are relevant to whatever it is that you are doing. Look in your local. Some people love BNI.
yeah.
That's a resource. Your local chamber of commerce. There, you can Google local network. I've done that. Googled local networking events to me, and you'd be amazed at what's out there. Like, there are people out there.
Hmm.
Your people are out there. You just have to put in a little bit of work to find them.
Yeah.
And like
Uh,
Laura said, you'll start seeing people repeatedly,
yes.
that are your
Uh-huh.
people as well.
one of the
Mhm.
clients that Laura and I both work with met with the salesperson on Laura's team that works with this client. He's like, where should I be networking? And I'm like, my favorite place to network is Alignable for business to
Mhm.
business. Um,
Yes.
of course, LinkedIn, always if business to business. Okay. If you're looking business consumer, then you're going to look at a more consumer facing platform like Facebook or Eventbrite or Meetup. And those are all good places as well. Um, and so those are all great suggestions. We'll drop these in the show notes too. Alignable. LinkedIn has groups. You guys, LinkedIn has groups just like Facebook does, but they're more business to business. Um, there's a great podcast, actually, a great podcasting community on LinkedIn. There are also specific niche groups, like there's Laura, what's the name of the podcast group that we are part of? Um, I can't remember the name of it. I'll have to find it. So if anybody's out there and they're interested in podcasting, being a podcast guest or having a podcast of your own, first and foremost, we do podcast um, management. So you can always hit us up. We have obviously we have a podcast we've been doing for almost 3 years now. Um, but what, Laura? She's on a lag. What was I saying? Oh, Alignable, LinkedIn. Um, that's for business to business, for business to consumer and business to business, both Facebook groups, Meetup, and Eventbrite. I advertise all of my networking events. I host 3 virtual networking events every month, and I promote them on all 3 platforms: Alignable, LinkedIn, Facebook, actually 4, and Eventbrite. So those events go out on all 4 platforms. Um, and that's another thing. If you're not sure where to find your people, hold a networking event, right? And on a topic that your people or your services are based on, and see who comes. That's always a great way to get started. So one of the things that we like to do is a couple of things. Nikia you talked a little bit about your dashboard services that you just launched. So she's got a custom dashboard services and fractional CFO services. We're going to drop the link for that into the show notes for a free consultation if you're interested in those services with Nikia. Welcome back, Laura. Laura dropped out. She's back for those just listening. And the other thing we like to do is have the current guest introduce next week's guest, because we feel like this kind of demonstrates and models the kind of community that we want to foster and create. Nikia, I'm going to let you take it away. Next week's guest is Becky Mollenkamp.
Thank you so much. Thanks again for having me. And yes, I'd like to introduce next week's guest, Becky Mollenkamp. She is a ICF certified coach with nearly a decade of experience. Becky helps progressive founders who want to grow their companies without losing sight of their people first values. Operating through an intersectional feminist lens, Becky helps smart, high achievers break up with hustle culture and redefine success on their own damn terms. Becky is a mom, avid reader, novice baker, and introvert. A former journalist and current host of the Gutsy Boss podcast, Becky is a skilled public speaker, and we can't wait to chat it up with her.
Yes. We can't wait to chat it up with her. Yeah, thank you so much, Nikia, for being with us today. We hope that your first podcast appearance was fairly painless and enjoyable, in fact.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So thank you so much for being here. It's been fantastic. And thank you for all who stopped by to watch live on LinkedIn and YouTube. Elizabeth, thanks for the wonderful comment for Nikia. And we love seeing that love being shown to female entrepreneurs. We're all about collaboration
Yeah.
over competition. So all right, guys, we will see you. Oh, our plug for the week, and we do this at the end. But what we're not seeing is people taking advantage of this. We're launching a community for that'll be free to listeners. So this is a free community for female entrepreneurs. So if you vibe with this podcast, we would love for you to sign up to be a beta tester for the community pre-launch. So we're working on that now, and we don't have very many. So we really, really need you guys to sign up. So if you've been meaning to do that, please do that today, because we're getting really close to reaching out to those who are interested in doing that. So until next week, Monday, 12 Eastern. Thank you for being with us today. Have a wonderful week, and we will see you